I'm talking about Eliyahu Hanavi. Where are we up to?
Oh, good question. Yeah.
See, I knew I could stump you.
Kowalsky, Avrum.
All right.
18.1.
18.1, chapter 18, verse 1,
I think so.
verse 10.
Okay, maybe. I have 18.
Yeah, we'll start from 18.1, 18 verse 1, we'll go quick. Vayhi yamim rabim, there was many days, U'devar Hashem haya Eliyahu b'shana hashlishis lemor, in the third year of what? Of the drought. Hashem appears in a revelation to Eliyahu Hanavi, and he says to him, Lechi ro'el Achav v'etanam mator al pnei adam. Go appear before Achav, and I, God, will give rain. Eliyahu would get, the way we're understanding the story, was forced to relinquish the key of rain in order to grab a hold of the key of life. What does that mean? That when he resurrected the child, okay, he took the power to resurrect from the dead or close to death, and that key he had to ask Hashem to give him, and as a result he couldn't hold two keys: the key to life, the key to Parnasa. What's the third key? The key to life, the key to Parnasa, and the children. He couldn't hold all two of the three keys, because then he would have more keys than Hashem. Fortunately, there were no combination locks. Anyway, so he had the keys.
We're digital.
Yeah, so he had to yield the key. So in other words, basically what has happened here is Hashem has ratcheted up his debate. There's a tremendous debate going on between Eliyahu and God. It's unbelievable that a prophet would engage in such a struggle with Hashem, a contest. Eliyahu declared a drought without seeking God's permission, according to this understanding. And in this position, he sort of forced God's hand by taking an oath in the holy name of Hashem. There'll be no rain except by my Eliyahu's word. And so Hashem complied so as to not undercut the validity and the integrity and the status of his prophet. So God was sort of schlepped along and dragged into fulfilling the oath that there would be no rain, and then God took a number of steps in which he was hoping to cause Eliyahu to relent. First, he took him down to a stream, and we said that and then the stream dried up, so Eliyahu could see the effects of not having rain on himself. He felt the drought himself. Then he was forced to go to that widow woman up north, and there he saw she was starving and hardly had anything to eat. So that was to show Eliyahu the effect that what his drought was causing to the people, the simple people. Eliyahu sticks to his guns and does not relent, creates a miracle and gives her food and sustains her and her child. And then God says, okay, he causes the child to be dead or near death. And then Eliyahu was confronted with this little boy, and he crumbles in a sense. He realizes that he needs to do something to bring this child back from either death or near death. And so he prays to Hashem to restore the life of this child. And in that way, he is mellowed, and he's now beginning to consider, his actions. What were the purpose of his actions? To stop the downward spiraling of the children of Israel into idolatry. So he has a very, very, let's call it, a great reason for what he's doing. His purpose is tremendous. He wants to stop Israel from sinning. He wants to bring them to their senses. He wants to show them that God controls their destiny, and therefore they need to do tshuva. They need to abandon idolatry. But then his purpose is too harsh, and that's what Hashem is trying to tell him. Okay, so let's go. So Hashem tells him, all right, go and appear before Achav and tell Achav that I'm going to give rain. And Eliyahu goes to appear before Achav. He's traveling to get to where Achav is, towards Shomron, and that's where the hunger was very fierce. people gathered in the capital city thinking maybe the king would have some supplies or whatever. And so there was a very, a strong, need need for people to get food in the capital city of Shomron. And Achav calls to Ovadia, who is his chief of staff, and Ovadia was a God-fearing man, Ma'od. And when Izebel went on her reign of terror against the prophets of God and killed anyone she could get her hands on or her henchmen, Ovadia went and hid out 100 of these prophets, 50 in a cave. And he gave them bread and he gave them food. He sustained them with bread and water. So this is who Ovadia is. We just presented who Ovadia was. He was a Yorei Elokim. He feared God. So Yaakov says to Ovadia, let's go, let's go survey all of the streams and all of the brooks and all of the wells of water that we know about in our land. Maybe we'll find some growth around them, and we'll be able to give that little growth to our horses and our mules. And we, the king, I will have some horses or some mules left. We pointed out, why did he take, the king himself is going to search, and the king's taking his chief of staff and is going to search. Well, we can't ask a question, what would Biden do, because he has no seichel, so we can't ask about Biden. But we could say, what would a normal ruler do? He would say, send out my soldiers. What's he going out and looking for water for? Looking for growth, the spurts. Brush. What's he doing that for? Because he cannot trust anybody. The drought is so severe that whoever would find anything would keep it for himself and his family, wouldn't share it with the king. So he says, Ovadia, let's the two of us go and search. Okay. They divide up the land. They each take a section of land, and they go lederach echad. Achav goes one way, Ovadia goes the other way, and Ovadia is baderach. Vayhine, I'm reading pasuk Zayin. I'm going fast because we covered this last week. Vayhi Ovadia baderach v'hinei Eliyahu lekroso. Lo and behold, Eliyahu is walking towards Ovadia. Vayikireu, and Ovadia recognizes him. Vayipol al panav, and he falls down to the ground. Vayomer atah adoni Eliyahu, are you not my master Eliyahu? Vayomer lo ani, he says, tis I. Lechamor ladonechi ne Eliyahu, go tell your master, that's Achav, behold, here is Eliyahu. I'm standing by the signpost under the lamppost, and I'm waiting for him. Vayomer melchotasi. So Ovadia says, what is my sin? You're going to deliver me into the hands of Achav. You're going to give Achav an excuse to kill me. I swear by God, your God. I swear by our God. If there is not one place in this region that Achav has not sent his agents to find you. Why does Achav want to find Eliyahu? Because he wants to force him to recant and to declare, the return of rainfall. And everywhere Achav sent, everybody responded, Eliyahu is not here. And Achav didn't just take a simple no where he's not here. He made everyone swear to him that Eliyahu has not been there. And now you're going to tell me, go now and say to your master, behold, Eliyahu is here. As soon as I leave you, and the winds of God will carry you away. Somewhere where I will not know. Meantime, I'll be going to Achav, and he will not find you when he comes, under the lamppost here on Route 1, and he won't find you because the winds of God would have carried you away, and then he'll kill me. So what's happening here? Obviously, since Achav was searching for Eliyahu, more than likely he posted a reward. Wanted, dead or alive, Eliyahu Hanavi. People are searching for Eliyahu. And of course, there's been many sightings, and I think we pointed out, like after Elvis, there was many sightings. People don't believe he's dead. People think they saw him. So they thought they saw, and they sighted Eliyahu. And they would run to Achav and say, oh, we saw Eliyahu in this place. thinking the king might reward them or whatever.
They put his picture in the post office.
That's right. And so therefore, Eliyahu is never where they said he was, because he disappeared. Is that true, that he disappeared, or they just never knew where he was hiding, all the way up north in the house of that little almana? Nobody thought to look outside of Israel. It's actually north of Israel, actually, in Sidon, and he wasn't there. So therefore, Achav has gotten enraged over these years. 3 years they're looking for Eliyahu, and for 3 years he's getting these false reports. He probably said, anybody who gives me a false report, off with his head. I'm going to kill him. I'm tired of chasing my tail looking for Achav. I'm looking for Eliyahu. So now Ovadia says that's what's going to happen, because Hashem protects you and carries you away. Nobody can find you, and you'll just disappear on me. Hello, God, wasn't it told to you that when Izebel killed the Nevi Hashem, I hid 150 in a cave, and I gave them bread and water? And you're going to tell me, go talk to your master Achav and tell him here's Eliyahu, and when we return to this spot, you will be gone, so he'll kill me. Notice one thing. Hashem tells Eliyahu, Lech hero'eh el Achav. Go and appear before Achav. Does Eliyahu go and appear before Achav? No. He wants Achav to come to him. He wants to put himself here. Achav's over here looking for water somewhere. And Ovadia is going to go and tell Achav, come to here. That's where I am. Eliyahu stands on principle. Well, let Achav come to me. I'm not. Okay, God said go appear to him. Okay, I'm going to appear to him, but he has to he has to walk the last mile. I'm going to be here. Achav's going to have to come to me. Okay. This will make a difference in a little while again. Vayomer Eliyahu, Chai Hashem tzivokos asher amadti lefanov. So Eliyahu swears to Ovadia, I will not move. I will stay here. Do not worry. Go tell Achav that Eliyahu is over here, and when he comes, I will be here. And Ovadia goes to Achav and he tells him, guess what, Your Majesty? Eliyahu is standing under the lamppost. So Achav has to go to Eliyahu. And when Achav sees Eliyahu, he flips. And Achav says to Eliyahu, is this you, the destroyer of Israel? The one who's caused so much trouble, so many problems, so many people are dehydrating and withering and starving and having tremendous problems. You are the destroyer. You've destroyed this country. We don't have cattle. The cattle are dying. The people are dying. The people are starving. You're a destructive force. Vayomer, and Eliyahu says, Lo acharti es Israel. I did not destroy Israel. You're looking at the physicality. I am trying to preserve the spirituality of the people. That's what's destroying Israel.
How are the words?
What?
How are these words?
These are these words. Lo acharti es Israel. I did not destroy Israel. Right? Ki imata ubeis avicha. You and your father's household, you and your father Omri, who introduced Baal, who introduced idolatry into Israel. You are the ones that destroyed this people. The physical destruction is only a manifestation of the spiritual destruction. And you caused the spiritual destruction, and that's what brought about the physical problems. Ba'azavchem es mitzvahs Hashem. You've abandoned the mitzvahs of Hashem, the Torah. Va'itelech achrei Baalim, and you have introduced Baal, and you followed after Baal. Va'ata. And now, let me propose a challenge to you, King Achav. Shalach kavot zelayis kol Yisrael. Go make a declaration, a clarion call. Make an announcement and a proclamation that all Israel should gather El Har Carmel, to the foot of Mount Carmel, which overlooks what today is Haifa. Bes Nevi Abal, Arba Meos v'Chamishim, Unevi Ashera Arba Meos Ochlei Shulchan Izevel. And gather and also announce that all the false prophets of Baal, 450 of them, and all the false prophets of the Asherah, which was a form of Avodah Zarah, competing with Baal, 2 types of Avodah Zarah. There are 400 prophets of Asherah, 450 prophets to Baal. Gather them all, and the 400 prophets of Asherah eat at the table of Izebel. Izebel is their patron. She supports them, and she feeds them, and finances them, and therefore gather these 850 false prophets. Yaakov accepts, and he sends a call, a royal proclamation to all of the children of Israel. And he gathers the false prophets of the Baal to Har Carmel. And Eliyahu now approaches the people. How much longer are you going to straddle, or are you going to stand on 2 of the thresholds? You know, one foot on one side, one on the other foot on the other side. 1 foot you're worshiping Hashem, and on 1 foot you're worshiping the Baal. You're vacillating between God and Baal. You don't know which one controls your destiny, which one has the ultimate power, and so you are equivocating. Okay, if God is the true power, then just follow God and abandon Baal. And if you think Baal is the true power, then stop this this hypocrisy and do something with integrity. One way or the other. Choose. Which do you believe in? You can't have it both ways. And the people don't know what to answer. They don't know, because they see other powers rising in the region, challenging Israel, and these other powers are people and kings who worship Baal or worship Asherah, so they don't know what's happening. So they don't know who is the true power. And so Eliyahu says, okay, I'll tell you, I see your problem. I see you have no clarity. I'm going to clarify things to you. I'm the last standing man. I'm the last prophet of Hashem. What does this mean? Izebel has rid the streets of Nevi'ei Hashem, of prophets of God, because of her reign of terror, because she's killing them. As she identifies and finds them, they're being killed. They're being chased. So therefore, I, Eliyahu, am the last standing public prophet. Levadi, all by my lonesome. And the prophets of Baal, they're flourishing. There's 450 of them. Let's take 2 cows. Let them choose first, and let them choose one of the cows. They'll shecht it, and they'll quarter it, and they'll put it, they'll put it on wood, on an altar. What? They will not introduce any fire to this supposed korban to Baal. And I'll take the other part. And I will also put on the altar wood, and I will not introduce any fire. No fire. And you'll call out in the name of your gods, Baal, Asherah, whatever you want to call them. And I will call out in the name of God. And the God that will answer, Ba'esh, who will send down a fire, Hu Elokim, that's the true power. That's the true powerful God. And the people say, hey, that's a great challenge. Let's do it. Now,
Rabbi, excuse me. The Nevi'im of Asherah, and there must have been something in their nevuas. Otherwise, it would have been stupid to accept.
Well, they are forced into this challenge. Eliyahu is not talking to them. He doesn't say to them, hey guys, let's have a challenge. He says to the people, you are equivocating. You don't know who's right. Hey, they're all here. Let's have a test. And the Bayan Kola'am and everyone in the people say, hey, great idea. Now the Nevi'ei Baal have been forced into a corner. They can't say no, because why are you chickening out? You got 450 of you. You can raise massive prayers to your supposed God. I'm here all by myself, 1 against 450. And if there's a true power in heaven that can make this happen, then let's put it to the test. And the V'Abal are now forced into this situation. Whether some of them actually believed what they were doing, or they had no belief in what they were doing, the Meforshim say they probably did not believe what they were saying. They were basically phonies, whatever. But they were now outmaneuvered by Eliyahu because he presented this challenge before the entire assembled people. Notice he did not tell Achav, when he told Achav, gather the people, what his purpose was. He kept that to himself. Eliyahu did not share this concept of a challenge with Achav. He only revealed it when everybody's standing there, and Eliyahu said, listen, if you really think Baal has the power, then follow Baal. Eliyahu is making concession. If I lose this contest, then okay, you can go follow Baal. But if I don't lose this contest, then you see who's truly powerful. And now they are forced into this situation, and he outmaneuvered them.
Wasn't the ones of Baal, their altar, they hit some people under or something?
Yeah, that's a MIDRASH that they tried to do it and a snake killed them. Okay, I don't like to get into that kind of stuff. You know, I go with the simple text. You know what?
Rationalism.
I'm a rationalist. I go with the simple text. The miracle is great enough. I don't have to embellish on it. Wait till you see the outcome here. This is a massive miracle. And I don't have to embellish. Thank you, Rabbi. Sorry I was late.
I don't mean to disturb. We're just doing the Shalom Manas. So please continue learning as if nothing else is happening.
I want to ask you one question.
Sure.
Are you helping the Ukrainians, or are you sending the money to Chabad in Ukraine?
We're doing everything local. So basically, my brother-in-law was a shliach in Ukraine, and Baruch Hashem.
Can I give you something for him and for you? Both places?
Are you talking about a donation?
Yes.
For sure.
I want to give it to you so that it'll be help the people that are here and also help the ones that are left behind.
Okay, so I can give you the link. They have one link to
Ukraine?
2 links to Chabad around the world helping Ukraine, but I have one specific link that's for Ukraine, and it helps both here and there to the best of my knowledge.
Okay, that's what I like to do.
I can even give you the number to my brother-in-law's colleague who deals with the finances.
Okay, so after we finish, I'll stop over.
Said they're going, I'm sorry to disturb.
Okay, that's okay. We're a big mitzvah. We're a mitzvah.
We just move this to the side. I'm not sure who these are.
Not mine.
Is it okay because we have to put here a lot of bags of...
Okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, anyway. So, by the way, I want to point out another thing here, which we should have pointed out before, but Achav is the one that introduces Baal. What does Baal mean? Baal means master. Baal Abayit is master of the house. Oh, Baal Akeli is the owner of a utensil. Right? Baal means master. So what Achav was saying, or what this God, or this Avodah Zarah, with God with a small g, was saying is, I am the master. This is the master. This is the controller. Okay? There are all kinds of Baal. There's Baal Zavuv, there's Baal Tzafon, there's Baal Ekron. There's all kinds of Baals in Tanakh, meaning there are all kinds of gods that were believed to be masters. This Baal that Achav is introducing, Achav was saying, or Yizebel and Achav were saying, this is Baal, this is the master, the controller. We would say master of the universe. So Eliyahu has challenged that. He says, let's have this contest. I'll take one, you take the first cow, you put it on the altar, on top of the wood, do not introduce a fire. I'll then go second, I'll take the next one that's left over, the other cow, I will put it on the wood, I will not introduce any fire, and we'll see who prevails here, which power will respond to the prayer that we will each offer directed to who we think is the master. Vayan kol ha'am. And the people said, Tova Dabar, this is a great idea. Now the Nevi'ei or Baal are forced into a corner. Everybody's there. Publicly, Eliyahu challenges them, throws down the gauntlet, puts it to them right directly in front of everybody, and the people respond and say, great idea, let's see what happens. Vayomer Eliyahu Nevi'ei Baal. And so Eliyahu then, for the first time, turns to the Nevi'ei Baal And he says to them, "Bachru lechem apor echad." You pick the first cow. Maybe you think my cow is some kind of magic. You pick the cow. Vasu Rishona, and you go first. Ki atem harabim, because you're the majority. I'm bowing to the majority. You go first. V'yikru b'shem Elohechem, and call out the name of your gods. Ve'esh lo tasimu, but don't introduce any fire. V'yikru es hapar shenasan lehem, and the power.
Sorry, just move your over. We have to,
They have to bring some things in.
Thank you. Just pass there. I'm sorry, is it okay if we open just 50 minutes?
Ask him, he's by the door. Don't ask me. I got my scarf. Anyway. You pick the first one, you do it, and I'll come last. And they choose the cow that was given to them. Vayasu, and they make it, they shecht it, they quarter it, and they put it on the wood. Vayikru b'shem Baal, and they call out to Baal, 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 answer us. Mea boker v'atzarayim, from morning until noon. Lamor, Habal Anenu, answer us, Almighty Baal. Ve'in kol, and there's no voice, no response. Ve'in onen, no one is talking, nobody's responding. It's all them screaming, Baal, Baal, Baal. Vayafasku al mizbeach, and then they start to jump. They do like a rain dance over the top of the mizbeach, and they're screaming, Baal, Baal, and they're asking Baal to respond. Vayibat Sarayim, and now it's getting later and later. Starting to get dark. Vayahatel b'hem Eliyahu, and Eliyahu decides to mock them. Vayomer, and he says, Kiru b'kol gadol, so louder, yell to Baal louder, in a greater voice. Ki Elokimu, he's powerful, so you want to call him. Ki siach, maybe he's talking to somebody up there, and he can't hear you. You're interrupting him, so scream so that he knows there's a sense of urgency here. B'chisig lo, maybe he's meditating. B'chiderach lo, or maybe he's not home. Ula yashen, maybe he's sleeping. Is that mine?
I'll be upstairs.
I don't know. It's in my pocket. Yeah. Maybe he's sleeping, so call out to him so that he can hear.
You're calling. He's cool.
Yeah.
Live.
Yosef, אני באמצע שיעור, אני אחזיר לך בעוד כמה דקות. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, and he's in the middle of a conversation or he's sleeping, but he cuts, and if you scream louder, you'll wake him up. Wake him up. Vayikru b'kol gadol, so they respond and they start screaming even louder. Vayiskodedu k'mishpatam, and then they start to cut themselves. They're doing a blood bond with Baal. Bacharavos, with swords, uberomachim, and with spears, achfoch dam aleim, until blood is flowing. Vayi kavor atzarayim, and now it's getting really late. Eliyahu has given them the whole morning, way into the afternoon, now close to evening. Vayisnabu, and they're trying to meditate and do all kinds of things. Ad alos mincha, until the time for mincha comes. Ve'ein kol, ve'ein oneh, ve'ein koshed. There's no voice, there's no sound, there's no response. Nobody seems to be hearing them.
Did they think they would get something?
What would they get? The only thing they got maybe was an echo. So what the Nabi is saying here, there wasn't even an echo. Because there's not one sound. What?
I mean, they cut themselves, they did a lot of stuff all day long.
That's right.
Did they really think?
Well, maybe they thought, that they weren't mustering enough kavanah, or they were trying to show the people, or maybe they helped. They could delay until nightfall.
Well, didn't this Baal have power or some kind of...
No power, nothing, nada, zilcho.
How did all the people get tricked into it?
Okay, well, it's always sleight of hand, or it's always they know something about what's going to happen and they don't let on that they know. Whatever it is, they fool the people. That's the point. And then Eliyahu finally says, okay, enough of this shtick. Okay? Gishu Elai, draw close to me. Watch what's going to happen here. Vayikshu, and they come close. Kol omei love. Vayirape es mizbach Hashem ha'harus. And he repairs the mizbeach of Hashem that had fallen into ruins. The Mefarshim say, what is this mizbeach on the peak or on the hill, on the mountain of Har Carmel? What mizbeach is Eliyahu Hanavi talking about? Say the Mefarshim that after the Mishkan in Shiloh was destroyed and private altars became again permissible, that Shaul HaMelech, in an effort to spread belief in Hashem and worship of Hashem throughout the land, took various strategic points and built altars to Hashem. Among those points was Mount Carmel. It dominated the whole region there. It was the high point, and therefore Shaul HaMelech built an altar there, and this altar had come into ruin. It would decay. So Eliyahu, first thing he does is restore the altar. And how does he restore this altar? He takes 12 stones, K'mispar Shiftei B'nei Yaakov, just like the number of tribes of the sons of Yaakov. Asher hoya devar Hashem elov le'mor Yisrael yeshemecha. Your name is Yisrael, and not no longer Yaakov. Hashem changed Yaakov's name to Yisrael, and that's what Hashem says. Your name is this name of Israel. I am taking 12 stones and corresponding to the 12 stones of the tribes of Israel. This altar is a collective. Move in a little bit. This young lady wants to get by. It's okay. Okay. Right. Okay. And he restored this altar, and he built it with kavanah, with intent to serve as an altar to Hashem. Vayas to Allah. And he digs this big, huge moat around this mizbeach, deep moat. Well, let's wait. It'll get there. Then he puts up the wood on the altar. He quarters the animal. And he puts it on the wood. And then he says, Milu arbo kadim, fill up 4 barrels of water. And pour the water from the barrels on top of the olah, the korban, on top of the wood, and they fill these 4 barrels and they pour it on the altar, on the animal, on the wood. Vayomer shinu, do it again. Vayishnu, and they do it again, so now there's 8 barrels of water. Vayomer shaleshu, he says, do it a 3rd time. Vayishaleshu, and they poured water 3 times. 12 barrels of water on the altar. And the water, of course, cascades off of the altar. And it fills up the moat. Mayim, with water. A moat is a ditch. A ditch all around the thing. And as it's turning dark, Vayigash Eliyahu Hanavi Vayomar. Eliyahu Hanavi now approaches the altar and he says, Hashem Elokei Abraham Yitzchak Yisrael. God, the almighty, powerful God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hayom Yivada. Ki ato Elokim v'Yisrael. Today you will make known that you are the powerful patron of God of Israel. Vani Avdecha. And I, Eliyahu, am your servant. Ubidvorcho osisi es advar me'eleh. And with your word, meaning with your permission, I have done everything. I declared a drought. I am now offering a korban outside of the Beis Hamikdash, which is standing. We learned how it was built. It's standing. It's the Beis Hamikdash in the holy city of Yerushalayim. Once the Beis Hamikdash stood in Yerushalayim, you are not allowed to make a private sacrifice. Says Eliyahu, notwithstanding that, I am making a private sacrifice here because I'm fulfilling the word of Hashem. I have permission from God. Aneni Hashem Aneni. Answer me, Hashem, answer me. V'yedu ha'om hazeh ki ato Hashem holakim. And this people will now know that you are the powerful God. V'ata hasivosa esliva machorenis. And you are the one, you God, have turned their hearts away from you. Eliyahu again throws down the gauntlet, challenges Hashem. And he says to Hashem, Aneni, answer me, God, answer me. Say them before Hashem. Why does he say answer me twice? Answer me, Hashem, answer me. Answer me that a fire should descend from heaven, and answer me that the people won't think I'm a magician, that I did this by magic. And as a result of this confusion that you have created until now, Hashem, the fact that you were no longer visiting miracles upon the people like you did in the days of yore, originally days when you embraced us as your people, therefore the people are beginning to wonder, where is the all-powerful God? How are these enemies rising up? How are they threatening us? How are they marauding? How are they achieving victories, if not permanent victories, temporary victories? They're stealing our produce from the border towns. They're doing all kinds of problems for us. Where are you, God? You are causing them to abandon you, to equivocate, to straddle the fence. It's your fault. And now I need you to do this awesome demonstration to prove that you are still with us and that you are still the almighty, powerful God. Vatipolesh Hashem, and our lightning bolts are shooting out of heaven. Vatochales ha'ola, and it consumes the carbon. V'es ha'etzim, it lights the fire. First the carbon burns, then the wood burns. V'es ha'avonim, then the stones melt down in their place. V'es ha'ofar, and even the dirt is scorched around the altar. V'es ha'mayim asher ba'ata'ola lichecha, and it sucks up the water that was in the moat, in the ditch. It sucks up this water, the 12 barrels of water, gone. Poof, pulverizes everything. And the people see this awesome demonstration. Vayiplu al pneim, they fall down to the ground in fear and in awe. Vayomru Hashem hu Elokim, Hashem hu Elokim. God, that's right. God is the true master. God is the true powerful one. The very words that we say at the end of Ne'ilah on the holy day of Yom Kippur. Which leads us to a very interesting question. Why don't we read this on Yom Kippur? If we're going to invoke these words on Yom Kippur to demonstrate that the people believed and did tshuva, abandoning Baal, at least for this period of time, they're abandoning the Baal, and they're saying God is the true power. Why do we read the story of the tshuva of Nineveh, a foreign capital city? Why don't we read this story, what we just finished, this powerful story that we just finished on Yom Kippur instead of the story of Nineveh? We don't have enough time to answer that question today. So remind me next week when I say, where are we up to? Tell me we're up to Nineveh. And I will get into that next week. But here is this demonstration. Now the people are just in awe of what Eliyahu has just done. Yes?
For what reason did Eliyahu say, or the accuses to Hashem?
Because I said to you before, what was the reason that the people were poseach al shtei seifim? They were straddling the fence. They would have one foot on one side of the threshold and one foot on the other side of the threshold. On Sunday they went to church, and on Shabbos they went to shul. I mean, they were just equivocating. They didn't know which God, let's call it, to worship. So they hedged their bets and were worshiping both Baal and Hashem. So Eliyahu says to them, choose. And now he says, you created the circumstances that led them to equivocate, that led them to doubt that you were all-powerful. And therefore he's, in a sense, accusing Hashem of causing all this.
Of not intervening in
of not demonstrating his power openly, so that there be no question about who is the master of the universe, who is the master of their destiny.
So he wanted a miracle.
He wanted this. He wanted two things. He wanted this awesome miracle to wow them off their feet, which they fall to the ground in awe, and he wanted to undermine and destroy the belief in the Baal. He wanted to destroy the belief in these 450 so-called prophets.
When finished, the presence of God begidui.
Excuse me?
When finished, the presence of God.
Is manifest openly.
When did it finish?
When did they see this?
No, when did it finish? The presence of God.
Oh, when the miracle ended, when everything was pulverized
No, the
into
last
dust.
time.
Oh, before this? The time
No,
before
at the end,
this?
At the end. When was the last time that he appeared to the people?
Hashem?
Yes, in a manifest way, not in a
Right,
hidden
I
way.
understand. When was the last time that Hashem did something of great moment?
Yes.
Well, you can say, I don't know exactly when, but let's see if we go back.
Every day.
Well,
No,
of course,
no.
he's talking about it in a miraculous way when Yehoshua ben Nun defeated the Canaanite kings and stopped the sun and made it rain down stones from heaven. Maybe that's right. That's the last time. That's what Eliyahu was saying. In the old days, you used to manifest your presence with great miracles. When David won all these wars without,
So this was the last time.
David probably was the last time. Maybe there was another time, depending, but nothing like the old days. And that's what Eliyahu was saying.
He wanted more miracles.
He said, he's saying that's right. He's saying to Hashem, there's two sides to this story, he's saying to God. On one hand, the people are abandoning you, but on the other hand, you are complicit in that because you're not making your presence miraculously manifest.
Wow.
Okay?
In the second temple.
This is a challenge to Hashem. This is Eliyahu HaNavi. Let me just say one more thing about Eliyahu HaNavi. He punished the people by creating this drought, right? But if you remember, when David HaMelech was given a choice by Nasan HaNavi, how do you want to be punished for your sin? He said, Nifla na biyad Hashem ki rabim rachamav. Let me fall into the hands. God gave him a choice. You want enemies to sweep the land and fight with you and cause you to have to defend yourself? Or do you want God to punish you with a plague? And David said, Nifla na biyad Hashem ki rabim rachamav. Let me fall into the hands of God. God, if I have a choice of a punishment, let the punishment come through you. Let there be a plague. Let there be something that comes from heaven, not from human hands. Human hands, they have no compassion. They can't distinguish between good and bad. A plague from Hashem can sometimes strike, sometimes not strike. Some people it does hit, some people it doesn't hit. There is ways of arousing the compassion of Hashem. I want to be dependent in the hands of God, fall into the hands of Hashem. So, Eliyahu said same thing. We'll see next week when we talk about Nineveh. What does that mean? Eliyahu is saying, I chose to punish the people in a methodology that puts them in the hands of Hashem. I don't want it to be an enemy, a foreign enemy. Foreign enemy is not, once a foreign enemy starts to rage and kill, he kills innocent and guilty. Hashem can always distinguish between innocent and guilty. And therefore, I want to fall into the hands of Hashem. Therefore, I will declare a drought. That's falling into the hands of Hashem, putting the people's fate in the hands of Hashem. Okay. Anyway, so Vayomer Eliyahu. Lahem. After this awesome miracle where they announce Hashem hu Elokim, Hashem hu Elokim, Eliyahu says, to be continued.
Are we going to learn next week what Hashem answers?
Wait a second. Well, next week we'll convene because it's after Purim. Okay, no problemo.
Are we going to learn how Hashem answers?
Well, we're going to see what happens here when the story unfolds. No flash forwards here
It's
now.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. This is one of the great dramas in Tanakh.
Never heard of it.
It's a great drama.
All right, Nineveh. I said it, Rabbi. Okay, what is it?
Nineveh,
Nineveh.
the great city of Nineveh, which was the capital of Damascus. Well, which is the capital not of Damascus, the capital of Ashur, Assyria. Nineveh's capital of Assyria. Okay, we will see. It's a fascinating story of Nineveh, and we didn't even finish the story here of Eliyahu and Har Carmel. Okay, friend, thank you. I'm sorry I was late today.
Very good.